Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Grizzly out of Kentucky. I'm on the hunt still. Unfortunately, our person was not able to make it on the show today. We couldn't get the right hookups. So we got a special guest coming on. We're going to try and see who it's going to be. I reached out to numerous people. Don't that music want to make you just fall asleep? Oh, it's so majestic. I love playing that music for psychics and mediums. And speaking of that, I did open up another website, or Facebook site, I should say, just for the psychics and mediums. If you are interested, I did. So, you know what? I'm trying to find it now. Isn't that awful? I'm having a rough time. I'm so used to using my phone to navigate anything anymore. To find stuff. That's the bad thing. It's always so hard. It really is. It's so beautiful music. I love hearing that. I sure do. You know what's really amazing though is that all the meetings in sight and meetings and pick up here, porky the pig, it's all folks. What's really amazing is all the psychics and mediums that I've actually interviewed. You know, they all have something in common, and you know, growing up, and that's what really fascinates me is that the things they do have in common, but they all have different stories, and that's what really, I don't want to say triggers me, but it's really unique. And I always want to hear everybody's stories because everybody's got different abilities that they're able to do. And they have the abilities from certain ways, whether it's past downs or near-death experiences, which is pretty cool. No, not the near-death experiences is not pretty cool. But it's really interesting to see how they use their abilities to help people, some to make a living, you know, because they can't go out in public and work a normal job. And, you know, it's really sad because some of them want to, but they just can't do it. You know, because the things they see and the people they hear, and I couldn't imagine seeing dead people all day and hearing voices inside my head. You know, I really couldn't. So that's kind of hard. I mean, it would be hard for me. I'd probably be Looney Tunes. But it's just amazing how God has blessed people with talent and special gifts to help people. And there are some people out in this world that have those gifts that don't even charge for it. They don't believe in it. And that's what's amazing. And unfortunately, some people, well, not unfortunately, but some people do have to charge, you know, minimum fee or whatever type of fee. Because that's how they make their living. And that's one thing that's really hard on people, is that when people talk about stuff, and this is what kills me, you got to be careful about the fakes out there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there are fakes out there. I guarantee you that. And we had enough on TV and on the show to demonstrate, which ones are real and which ones are not real. But overall, it's interesting to see how they work with people. It really is. They give you what to look for into a real psychic and what not to look for in a real psychic. And also send multiple friends over to them and see if they say the same thing. So that makes perfectly sense to me. And especially, a few of them said, if you got a curse on you, it's going to cost you thousands of dollars, and I'll get rid of the hexing curse. Well, first off, unfortunately, I'd tell you go fly a kite, but unfortunately, there's people out there that would actually pay that to get rid of it. So that's what's going on. It's really hard. And I don't blame them for people being skeptical, like my dad, and believing in psychics and mediums. I really don't. So, but you got to have faith in something. And if it's not faith in one thing, it's got to be faith in another. And that's what cracks me up, is that some people believe in some stuff and some people don't believe in other stuff. Well,
okay. You know, information on your order. I can help you with that. Has your order shipped already?
That's Alexa. So Alexa can go 9-9.
Okay. You want information on your order. I can help you.
Stop, Alexa.
Has your order shipped already?
Unbelievable. But it's really amazing. It really is.
We need to connect you to one of our associates to finish helping you out. The call could be recorded for quality assurance. Just a moment. An associate will join you shortly.
That was actually off my phone. I thought it was Alexa talking to me. But, you know, it's the fake ones out there that cause the problems for everybody and cause the non-believers in things. And that's what happens. You know, when we talk about psychics and mediums, you've seen the videos, you see the live streams, you see what they talk about and what they are and are not capable of doing. What's up, Mr. Blanton?
Hello, Chris. How's it going?
Doing good. We're just doing a recap about some psychics and mediums and everything. How's your day been?
Pretty good. I can't complain.
Well, that's good. Thanks for jumping on. I really do appreciate that.
No problem.
I really do. It's been one of those days to where some people can't jump on and connect. So, but
Yeah.
like I was telling people, you know, psychics and stuff, you got to believe in some of them. You know, I mean, some of them really made me a firm believer. I mean, I was kind of skeptical on some.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've been the same way, you know, until I met my good friend. I consider her sister, Marcella. You know, I had my doubts and thoughts about things like that too, but you know, eventually she made me a believer. So, you know, there's people out there that do have gifts, and there's some that do it just to make money off of. And
that's what I was just talking about. Yeah.
Those are the ones you got to be wary of and watch. So, But yeah, there's real good people out there that are in these communities that actually do have gifts and are eager to help folks.
And I was saying too before you came on the show is that some of them, majority of them don't charge money. They do it out of the kindness of their heart, and it's something that has been gifted from something above, is what I believe in. But there's other ones that unfortunately, excuse me, that have to charge a small nominal fee because they can't go to work because they see spirits, they hear spirits all day, and they can't just see dead people walking around or being, hey, holler at this person, hey, stop that person. I mean, I couldn't deal with that all day through my head. There's no way. There's no way in hell I could.
I mean, me being empathful. It's hard for me to go to cemeteries and funeral homes. I could just imagine how someone with a gift like that would feel, just walking out in everyday society, having to see all the spirits and them trying to communicate. My sis, she told me, she said she's been woke up in the middle of the night before, and
oh wow,
come to her, and she just sometimes she goes in places where there's so many that she will tell them, all right, you need to calm down, everyone get in line, and she'll go one by one. She says sometimes you have to treat them, like children, to let them know, hey, I see you, but you have to calm down. There's too many talking, and over time, she has learned to deal with that. She says sometimes she has to get hateful, but they get the point. They're just excited that someone can actually see them and communicate with them. So, they got a message that they want to get out to a certain person. So,
well, that's true. But I still don't have the minister on our team. I meant to call him today, but unfortunately, I had to run to the library because my printer's out of ink. And then Amazon delivered some packages, which all of them I didn't get. And I got some ghost equipment. And one of my ghost box that blinks and zzz, when you get around it,
yeah.
show up. And they're like, I'm sorry, you're going to have to call the police and file a police report. And I'm like, what are the police going to do when there's nothing I can tell them?
Exactly.
So I waited until Monday, until today. I was at the library, and I was like, well, I might as well call them. I'm up here, so I called the police and waited an hour and did my run to the UPS store, sent everything back, that I didn't need, it wasn't what I ordered, and came back, and he called. He come to where I live, and he was like, what do you want me to do? And I was like, well, I told dispatch, you don't even need to come here. We could have done this over the phone. He says, you think they're stolen? I'm like, sir, I had camcorders delivered. I mean, if somebody's going to steal all these packages, don't you think they would take them all? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, and where I live, they deliver packages at wrong doors. The offices bring packages to me, wrong apartment complexes. But anyways, it's back to the subject. But I could have swore, and anybody out there listening in La La Land can tell me if I'm right or wrong, but somewhere in the Bible it states that the dead shall not come back.
Yes, it does.
So, and that was one of the things that I always struggled with when people saw spirits and ghosts. Go ahead.
But about that is where if you read down through the passage, through the verses, it also says that you're supposed to be wary of sorcerers and psychics. What I interpret that as be wary of the ones that want money, that lie to get things. Cold readings are a big thing. It's called phishing. They try to get as much information about you as possible. Then when you get the ones that come out and tell you something, without having to fish anyone. Those are the ones with the true gift.
Yeah, you're
Those,
right. And a lot of
those,
the psychics
those
and
are the
mediums
ones
told me
that
that.
are, yeah, those are the ones that are truly gifted. Those are the ones that you need to uh, ask questions to. But if they come out and they start, fishing for facts and things like that, then there's foul play. But that's what's in
Yeah.
that verse. That's what that means. But through all the paranormal investigations that I've done, I have talked to my own pastor before about this same thing. And he says, well, in the Bible, it tells us, he says, there's ways to break that down and there's ways to think about what that means. I do believe that probably 90% of what we as investigators and ghost hunters come across is demonic. And then the other 10% is spirits, earthbound spirits that roam the earth. There's a lot of confusion, I believe, when you're taken suddenly from this world to the next. And for you, wouldn't you want to grasp on to the last thing that you know here on this earth if you were afraid to cross into the light and cross over to the other world?
Oh, absolutely, I would.
Yeah, exactly. And that is where those earthbound spirits come into. Now, I've had contact with spirits that were mean, that I thought were right on the tip of being demonic, but I don't have no way to, I guess you could say, come to the 100% saying that it was, but there was qualities and things that it done to lead me to believe it was just a aggravated and excited spirit that was trapped here, human spirit. Um, there's there's a lot of questions that everyone has that does this type of work, and we'll never know the answers. This is just something that I believe we're not meant to know the answers to. It's one of those enigmas that we'll be perplexed for the rest of our lives. We'll never get true answers to what the other world is like. My sis told me that when my first wife came to her after she passed away, that she said that love on the other side was different from love on earth.
Really?
That there's no feelings, no emotions, but love is different. She said love and light and peace is the reigning factor on the other side, because God is love, light, and peace. So that makes sense to me why she would say that.
Well, and one of the things that I've learned by Grizzly being on the hunt for psychics and mediums is that a lot of them will tell me that other psychics or so-called psychics and mediums will tell them they have a curse or a hex. It cost you thousands of dollars to get it off of you. Get your checkbook out. And you would be unbelievable how many people do that.
Well, they get
And
scared.
and they go to other people down the booth in the fair and they're upset. Do I have a hex on me? And some of the people that I talked to and interviewed are like, no, why? Well, this lady down there told me it's going to cost me $2,000 to get rid of it. We're like, no, you don't have nothing on you. So, it makes me wonder, and it's really sad how many people get taken advantage of. It
Oh
really
yeah.
does.
And
I mean,
that's just
I've
something
never
that we're
been
going to
to
have
a
to deal
palm reader
with.
or anything like that.
And
So
that's how we're going to have to separate folks that have the true gifts from folks that, are your classic psychic that want the money. That's like Marcella. She does not let anyone know. But if it's brought up in a situation, like if I'm around her and I say, "Oh yeah," if it's brought up in a conversation and she's around, I say, "Oh yeah, sis she's got those gifts." And then the people are like, "Really?" And they'll ask her, and then she'll say, "Yeah, I see things." And they start asking questions, and then it doesn't take her long at all. She opens herself up, and boom, there they are. And what really sold me on that she had the gift, there was a nickname that me and my wife used to call each other that we never called in. No one knew about it. It was our little inside joke. And she just blurted it out to me one day. And she said, "Well, what's this about?" And said the nickname. And I looked at her and I just dropped my jaw. I said, "How do you know that?" She said, "Melissa told me." And I'm like, nobody else knows that. We have never said that on Facebook, out in public. That's mine and her little inside joke. This is for home thing. And she's like, "Well, she told me that's what it was." And I was like, Lord have mercy. And I was also had been going through, I was grieving real bad, to the point that I had thought about taking my own life.
Oh, wow.
And my wife came to her 3 o'clock in the morning. She said all she seen was she was laying there in the bed. She seen this bright flash of light. She opened her eyes up. She said right there was Melissa in front of her face saying, "Jimmy's going to do something stupid. Jimmy's going to do something stupid." She said when Melissa said that, she got this flash, this vision of me sitting on the couch with a gun in my hand. And she was right. And she said, she called me. She said, I answered the phone. I remember her saying, "What do you think you're doing?" She was screaming it at me. And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She says, "I know what you're doing. You've done been told on." And right then and there, I knew it was Melissa. And I was like, daggone it. And she came to my home and sat with me for I think it was till 8 o'clock in the morning. And I finally had a good cry. And she took my gun home with her, and I didn't get it back for I think it was 6 months, 6 or 7 months.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, it was a crazy situation and the things that I was going through. And then when she went all through that and stuff, I knew right then and there that she was the real deal.
Well, on my administrative team, we have admins calling. We'll let them go to voicemail. If I can figure out how to mute it. I'll do it this way. Answer and hang up. Sorry. We have police, state police, retired, which is me, firemen, EMTs, paramedics, a couple of civilians, psychics, and mediums. And I have the real deal ones on my team, my administrative team. And I can talk with somebody for a few minutes and tell them that they have abilities that they don't know about that they need help with. And so far, I'm batting 100% average, and I hook them up with certain people so they can develop those traits. And I don't know why or how I know. It's strange. I mean, can you explain that?
Some people just have that. Once again, that's another gift, They say that people with gifts like that are drawn to one another. So,
No, it's strange. Like the other day, I was interviewing a guy. And if you'd watched the video, for the first 20 minutes, before he would actually ever say a word, I knew it was coming out of his mouth, how he was going to say it, what he was going to act out, what tone he was going to. I mean, it was freaking me out. It was like I would hear that he would say it, And I did this for 20 minutes. And I was just like, act normal, Chris. Act normal. Everything's fine. I don't know what's going on. It's freaking me out. And after 20 minutes, I just like it snapped out of it. And I had no idea why it happened. You know, I really didn't. It shocked me that bad. So
I have a lot of dream visions. When I have dreams that are vivid, it's like me talking to you. They seem that real to me. And there's only been 4 times in my life that I've actually had those visions like that. And that's when I've had family members die that are very close to me.
Well, let me tell you something about that. Now, this is freaky. I interviewed this one person that their dad had abilities to look at a person and know exactly when they would die and how. There's no way in God's heaven creations, earthbound, spirit-bound, whatever you want to call it, I would want never nothing to do with that.
Me neither.
And she said that he tried to block it for years and years, and it was just so awful, you know. So I just don't know. I mean, it's just awful. I mean, can you imagine that, looking at somebody and like, you're going to die in 25 years. You're going to die because of cancer because you're smoking. You're going to die because you're going to kill yourself of a gunshot wound, suicide. You're going to die because you're going to be in a car wreck tonight when you leave work. I couldn't handle that.
Me neither. That would be one wild gift, though. I mean, God has His reasons why He gives us gifts like that, you know, and even in the Bible it talks about the spiritual gifts that God gives us, and I believe some people have those gifts that are being called to church and called to that lifestyle that block them out.
They do.
You know, I have the gift of discernment, and it's a great gift to have. I can see, you know, not only do I see through people, I also, being so long doing this type of research, especially with cryptids and things like that, of doing face-to-face interviews with folks, I've learned some psychology over the years. There's certain things that folks do unknowingly when they're telling lies.
That's right.
And you can pick up on that. And if you pay close attention to it, you will learn. So I've learned to do that over the years. So
absolutely,
that's one cool thing about it.
I totally agree with that. I totally agree. And, you know, everybody, I'm sorry. I did find that website. I should have brought it up. The website, let me see if I can bring it up on my computer here. It's called Psychics and Mediums Across the World. That is a new Facebook group I started. Just started, I think, last night. Please feel free to join it. I put the link in the comments. Saturdays, you can do readings, free or paid. It doesn't matter. Then on Sundays, you can sell, barter, trade, anything y'all want to do. It's up to you all. And through the week, you can ramp up for the weekends. You know, work together as a team. You know, help people out. You know, explain to them. Explain that you're not black witches or dark witches and evil people and hooky pooky wokey and stuff.
You know, I've actually met a couple people that were psychics that actually were Christians and used a lot of prayers in their readings and things like that for folks. And I mean, some people say, well, you can't be two things. It's not necessarily that having those gifts is bad. It's just what others deem us as. There's going to be folks out there that are going to call you a witch. They're going to say, well, you use dark magic, you're this and that. It's your walk with God is, in your heart is what will make you a Christian person, or, agnostic, or even if you don't believe. Um, I'm glad that I have a religion that believes in what's inside your heart and not the outward appearance.
And just to add a note there, ladies and gentlemen, Grizzly and Mr. Blanton Tales of Terror. We're trying to explain to you, we're not picking any type of religion or picking on any type of religion. We're just speaking of religion and speaking of our religion only. So just make a note of that, okay?
Yes, my religion, we learn to open our arms and our doors up to all. It doesn't matter if you don't believe in God, if you're Catholic, Holiness, Pentecostal, Methodist, it doesn't matter, or Southern Baptist. It's what's in your heart. It doesn't matter how you look. There's no, of course, you dress modest, but if you want to wear, a woman wants to wear jeans to church. In some churches, they frown upon that.
Yes, they do.
It doesn't matter there. If you want to wear your makeup, as the preacher says, that's between you and God. You pray about that. Um, a lot of women that go to churches and things, the first thing they're afraid of when they walk in the door is what is the parish going to think about me? What are the patrons of the church going to think about me if I'm wearing makeup? It says in the Bible that Jezebel wore makeup, but Jezebel was an evil woman, and she was evil inside her heart. She done awful things. But if you have a good heart and you're living good and you walk into the church and you got makeup on, there's nothing wrong with that. It's how you use that makeup. If you're painting your face up and you're going out and you're clubbing and you're getting drunk and things like that, then that's when it becomes between you and God, and you and God only. We cannot judge. It is not up to us to judge. It says in the Bible that God will be the only judge of this world and everyone that lives in it and everything that crawls upon it.
Well, see, and that brings up a good point, because last night during the interview, we were talking about cults and stuff, and false religion and false prophets, and I was trying to, I'm not saying trying to, I said trying to again. I was expressing a point to this gentleman that I do not blame the congregation for being misled into the pits of hell, because the guy on the podium is misleading them from the words of the Bible. Does that make sense?
Yes, and you get a lot of folks that, a lot of these so-called preachers that do that. And that's where discernment, a gift of God, that's where that comes in for me. And I have walked out of churches before when the Lord just opened my eyes up and said, this is not right. And I would never say nothing to the preacher. We would just get up and leave, me and my whole family. We would not say nothing, because it is nothing. It's not my right to say anything. God gave me that gift to let me know, hey, you're in the wrong place. That's not where you need to be at. And when you pray to God every day and you make a relationship with God, God comes to you and tells you, and he will let you know when things are bad and things are good. If you want good things in your life, you make a relationship with God, you pray, you live the way you're supposed to live. And a lot of people give the excuse, I can't live that way. And what they're thinking is by the Old Testament. They think that you have to, dress a certain way, you have to act a certain way. Everyone in society, if you want to have a, let's see, if you want to have a someone look at you and say that you're a good person, then you have to act positively. You have to show that not just inward, but you have to portray that outward. And that goes vice versa with if you're a bad person and you're bad inside, it's going to show. And people are going to see that. And then that's when you're going to start losing folks. People won't want to be around you. So, like me, I'm a Christian man. I live good. I live a good life. And I portray that outward because I want people to look at me and say, well, this guy looks, approachable. And when they talk to me, that gives me the way to open up to them and just casually make up a conversation. Do you go to church? If they don't go to church, invite them to come to church with you. And I always let them know, hey, if you don't want to, I'm not going to think nothing bad of you. I'm not going to hold that against you. But
Right.
as a Christian, I have to give them that opportunity to invite them to church. And usually when you open up the conversation with that and you casually put that out there and they know that you go to church and they see how you live and how your personality is and that you're a good guy or a good woman, and when they do have a spiritual question or something pops up that only God can handle, they're more apt to come to you and ask you questions. And then that's when you can lead them to God. So I use, God in my everyday life. And some folks ask me, well, you go to church and you're a Christian. How come you're out here hunting, doing this ghost hunting? I'm not a ghost hunter. I'm an investigator. I go to debunk those things. And then when you can't debunk those things, then that's when you get your evidence. And by debunking, I'm meaning when people are saying that their home is haunted, well, why do you think your home is haunted? And then they say, well, I hear these thumps and bumps. I hear this noise and stuff all the time. That's when you go through the house and you just start looking for things. You start looking at the doors, see if the doors make noise when they open up. If there's a draft that will cause the doors to close on their own. Look for cameras. Look for hidden cameras. Look for anything that will project a hologram. Or they say they see shadows. Go outside, shine lights. Take your vehicle, turn lights on. Drive up and down by the house if they saying that they're seeing these shadows, lights and shadows and things like that. Do the things that you can to try to debunk. Then when you can't debunk things, when you're getting video that you can't debunk, then or audio, then that's your evidence. That's your evidence that you're confident enough to put out there to share with folks. There's a lot of people out there that they put videos and pictures up without actually looking through them. And then when you have someone like me that goes through that stuff and they see that what's causing the shadow or where your noise is coming from, they feel embarrassed. And there's no need to feel embarrassed because I would say 90% of the people that put videos out on YouTube, they're not into the paranormal. That is something that they've caught in the home or somewhere that they've been before, and they don't know how to go through that to start debunking things. And it embarrasses a lot of people. And then when those people get embarrassed, they don't want to share it with real folks that want to help out. And it's a shame that the communities and things like that have gotten that bad. That's just like with the cryptids. That's one of the reasons why I quit the cryptid community altogether. I'll still do interviews with certain people when it comes to cryptids, but I let that side go because of the fact that there was so much drama with everyone arguing.
And I'll
Wanting
tell
to
you,
have
ladies and gentlemen, there is no drama in my groups at all. I do not allow it. And speaking of that, I'm
in my
gonna,
group also, I won't
yeah,
allow that either. It just ruins the whole thing that you work hard on. And trust me, folks, we work very hard on these pages to get people there, and
I'm
it's
not an expert by any means. I mean, I don't think anybody's an expert. We don't have the real answers.
there's no
But
such
on
thing.
that topic, I'm gonna. You remember those old VCRs?
Yeah,
Remember you hit rewind? Okay, I just rewinded. So let's go back to you being in church and false prophet and reading the Bible wrong and testifying. And, another thing that really bothers me are the hypocrites. I can't stand those. Your holy rosary in church, and when you're out and about, you're drinking, cussing, smoking, acting like a wild man, woman, don't matter. But that leads me up to another story because it attaches to your story about being a good person, a bad person. In my early 20s, I bought a house, probably about 21 years old, and I found out my neighbor was an atheist. And he kept telling me this over and over for about a year. And I'm not going to lie, ladies and gentlemen, we was in his garage drinking beer, smoking cigarettes. I was young and dumb. And he got talking about atheism. I guess that's what you call it, is it? Is that a word? Okay.
Yeah, atheism. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we got talking about that. And I usually don't get mad, but I got mad for a second. And I was like, look, let me explain something to you, Tim. And I said, you believe in your life that there's no God. Whichever God there may be, you're believing there's no God. And I believe there is a God. I believe there's a heaven and there's a hell. You believe there is no heaven and no hell. Now, let me ask you this one question only. Let's say you continue to live your life exactly like you are, and you end up dying, and there is a hell. Where are you going to go? His eyes got real big, and he's like, I'm going to hell. And I said, hold on, don't. And he started talking. I said, don't, we're not finished. Now, let's say that you went to church, which I'm not saying you have to. You can do stuff at home, read and pray or whatever. So let's say you followed the rules of the Bible and you lived a very good life. And you up and died just 20 years from now. And there is no heaven nor hell. What would everybody say about you? That I was a good man. I said, there you go. And he switched?
Well, it's good.
Yeah.
And, me and my wife was just talking about that the other day. I would rather be safe than sorry to find out that they're, go before God and Him say, ha ha, I fooled you. It was all a joke. Welcome on into heaven. There's no hell. I would rather live the right way and get in there anyway than take a chance on going to hell. Because it is.
Speaking of that, I watched your baptism, by the way.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, you and your wife.
Yeah, it's on her Facebook.
I did.
Yeah,
Yeah. Sure did. I meant to tell you that a while back ago.
Yeah, and like I said, the church that we go to is so much different. We open our arms to folks. We want people to come in there. And there's a lot of churches that do push away folks. They see that the way you're looked upon by, they think some churches dress a certain way, act a certain way. That's what pushes folks away from God. And everyone is more focused on church than they are God anymore. And we try to focus on God. We get folks, they get ashamed. Well, I invite people to church and they're like, well, I've got tattoos. And I'm like, oh, I've got tattoos also. Looky here, I've got 4 or 5 tattoos. I've had piercings. I used to be an alcoholic. And God turned my life around and took that from me. Because I prayed to him, I fasted, I live a clean life. I don't take drugs, I don't drink anymore. I treat people with love and compassion. I try to help those that need help. When I'm able to help, I help. And God rewards me for that.
And we shall have our crowns in heaven.
Exactly. Well, it says in the Bible that we've got mansions and riches beyond imagination waiting on us when we get to heaven.
And,
I would rather live this life the way I'm living it now as a Christian, being safe than sorry and getting to in front of heaven and being turned away. Could you imagine hearing the words come from God, "Depart from me, ye workers of iniquity, for I never knew you." In other words, depart from me, I don't know you. And be sent to hell. It's a real place. Demons are real. What I can't wrap my mind around, Mr. Grizzly, is people that are in the paranormal field and they've seen what demons can do to people, to homes, to lives, but yet they don't believe there's a heaven and they don't believe there's a hell.
Yeah, I never did understand that, no.
But yet, the first thing you do when you get hurt or something bad happens in your family, what's the first word that comes out of your mouth?
God help me.
Or, oh God, help me. Or help this person, or help this.
Well, that brings us back full circle. Where do you think the powers for the psychics and mediums and the rakers and all that comes from?
Once again, it goes back to gifts and the way you use them. Beware of people that claim to be psychic, folks, that want money. They say, well, I'm a psychic. I do these readings for so much money. We are told in the Bible to test spirits. When we're out doing these hunts to test spirits, that means if you pray to the spirit and you know that you're trying to get rid out of a home and you're praying in the name of Jesus Christ to leave this place or tell us your name, there is power in those words.
Yeah.
And if someone claims to be a psychic and you pray to yourself before you have even talked to this person, God will open your eyes up and he'll show you something to let you know, hey, this is a lie, this is a joke. And a lot of times what you need to look for is the code readers. Like I said, if they start asking you questions, they'll go, well, I see a woman. She's about so high. She's wearing glasses. She's a real grandmother-like looking figure. Did you have a grandmother that passed away not too long ago? And anyone that has a brain in their head when they're doing these. The psychics will go and look back. As they're talking to you, they will be on their phone or their computer or laptop or whatever, looking through your Facebook page, going through your Instagram, trying to bring up anything that they can to pull from you to use. Now, if someone just blatantly says, well, your grandmother died recently, didn't she? And you say, yeah. And they say, so and so was her nickname for you. And then they'll go, and you loved her a lot. You all were real close. I see you all cooking together and doing things like this and her teaching you things. That's someone that's gifted. When they tell you what you want to hear instead of fishing it from you, that's the ones that have the true gift. Those are the ones that you want to interact with. That's someone's that.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the phone ring you heard in the background is the one I was trying to get hold of my Catholic priest. I didn't know it was that late. I need to get some holy water. I'm out. So I was going to put it on the air. But anyway, sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, you're fine.
But, I feel sorry for the people that gets taken advantage. That's my problem. There are a lot of false prophets that are out there, ladies and gentlemen. And if the book does come out, and if you go back and watch some of the videos, it will explain to you what they have shared to, I don't want to say debunk, but to disprove somebody that does not have the abilities to read or to tell you the past or the future. And, there's a lot of Facebook groups online that will give you free readings. I'm a member of them. Now, I never let them give me free readings because most of my information is out on public media, social media. And I've also spoken about my injuries and my cancer. So what else are they going to tell me? Now, one did tell me where I used to live, drew a picture of my house, drew the steps. You remember this one? Tell me what I just ate. Tell me where I lived. Drew how many pairs of steps to go up to, where my bedroom was, where my head laid next to the wall. So there are some ruins out there. But you just got to be real careful. And, when they start talking about money, and another thing is one of the things I've been told, and let me adjust this mic a little bit. One of the things that I've been told too is try to record it. If they don't let you record it, you got a problem.
Yep.
And if they don't let you record it because they say that the electronic has interference with them, okay, we'll take that with a grain of salt. Then get a pen and paper out. Then if they say, no, you can't take notes, get up and walk away.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly what I've been told almost 95% of them. So, yeah, really have. But, it's just really sad because, I didn't know this, but a lot of the psychics that I called that can't leave home actually at one time or another worked on the psychic hotlines.
Yeah.
And they had to quit because they were hiring just anybody and everybody to put in a chair to answer the phone for $1.99 a minute. And and these are true psychics, and they felt they did justice to the public over it, and they didn't want no part of it. And I applaud them for that. I do.
Oh, yes, I do too.
But it's so hard for them to get a job. So if somebody wants to charge me $25 or $35 for a reading, or if the first one's free, and if they want to charge me $25 or $35 the next time, if I actually do want a reading, then I may pay for it. If you're talking $50 to $150 a reading, then I'm gone. Fuck you. You don't have to worry about that. You know, it's not all about the money, and some people is. And some people will put the fear into you, saying that you do have a curse, a hex on you, and you have to pay X amount of dollars, and I have to give you this, and you have to go home and do this and that. And if this doesn't work, you have to come back, and we have to do this, and it'll cost you another $1,000. And people actually do it. And that's what's sad. They do it.
Yes.
They really do. But, Mr. Blanton, what is your overall take of them now? Your overall view? Somehow I lost them. But, you know, that's one thing I don't like. I don't like people, you know, do stuff like that to other people and just get away with murder and stealing people's money, you know. And right now, with the economy the way it is and everything, you know, it's really hard, you know, to even pay people's bills. And one of the questions I was asking you is, you know, what's your take on the whole ordeal of psychics and mediums? And what's your overall view?
I would say I am skeptic when it does come to someone that will say that they're psychic and they, you know, just take money and just, you know, the ones that attract me are the folks that tell me things right off the bat. And a lot of people, well, let me put it this way. A lot of psychics are flashy people. The ones that are fake are the ones that want your money, and they're going to do whatever they can. Those are the ones that are all over social media that are, you know, just flashy promos and all this stuff. Those are the ones that know how to do business. Your like a lot of the I don't think there has been any of the guests that you've had psychic wise that has not made me believe that they're not gifted.
Well, and let me tell you something on that, and not to interrupt you and be disrespectful. I actually screened them very, very well prior. And a lot of them don't know it, that I actually do research on them.
Well, we have
I do not want to get a fake one on here and make an ass out of them. I don't.
Exactly. We have to screen these folks. So that's whether if you're going to be on Grizzly's channel, if you're going to be on my channel. Me and him have even talked about doing a channel together.
Absolutely.
And if we have people on there, he will screen those people. I will screen them, just like he says. We don't want to get someone on there and make a fool of them, because I cannot lie. If I start getting these things and you keep missing stuff and you're not hitting on nothing, then I'm going to call you out on it. I'm going to say in a polite way, I don't believe what you have, because this is what you said, this is what you've hit on, and you haven't hit on anything. Nothing that you have said is right. So to the common sense person, are you going to believe that that person's a psychic? No, they're going to be thrown underneath the bus. But I will do it in a nice and polite way. I won't be rude about it. I'll just flat out say, well, I'm sorry. Appreciate you coming on the show. But I'll never turn down someone. but they will be screened heavily.
Oh man, I kick them, boot them, I blackmail them. You know, that's like the other day. You know, not trying to get off the psychic and medium subject. And if you're watching this, sir, I'm not going to mention your name, so no disrespect to you. But I got a picture of a footprint from Sasquatch.
No,
And
really.
it's called a mud trap. And for the ladies and gentlemen that don't know what a mud trap is, it's a section of a creek where it's mud and mud only. Well, the footprint that I received, and compared to the weight he described, the impression was not deep enough, if you catch my drift.
Yes.
And that was the first thing that came out of my mind when I first saw this picture. So I didn't call him out on it. I took it, you know, let him say what he wanted to say about it, because A, I wasn't there, and two, I didn't take the picture. And I showed a friend of mine. He was like, well, where's the fur? There should be some fur around there. And he's like, Grizzly, do you know what's the depth of that? And I'm like, I do. I said, what's your take? And he told me the same thing I thought.
That's the number one kicker. If the impression is not deep enough, then that means it was made. Someone made that impression, because an animal of so-called size as Bigfoot they're heavy. They weigh anywhere from 400, and they go up in weight the taller they are, just like in humans in our anatomy. The taller you get, the more weight you get.
That's right.
Because they're so tall. You know, it's mass. So that's something that you want to look for. Also, when you're looking at casts and things like that, you look for small, fine lines, meaning that would be hair that's around the foot.
Right.
Sometimes you can actually, if you look close enough, you might look up and find some hair follicles in, you know, in the mud with that print. And I've cast a couple. I have also been presented with a cast of Bigfoot and things like that. I've got a replica in there of a friend of mine who gave to me. It's been about 3 years ago. It is a replica of the original Patterson-Gimlin footprint from Patty. 16 inches. I mean, this thing is huge. And if you use the formula that you use for every 2 inches is a foot, that put that female Sasquatch at almost 8 foot tall. And that is a big girl. That is a big creature to be running through the woods.
Yeah. You know, and speaking of Patty and stuff, they got brought up the other night, and somebody asked me about questions on that, and we answered it. But I also brought it up with the psychics. You know, I had to ask, do you believe in Bigfoot? Do you believe in cryptids? And they went like this. It's like they wanted to answer, but they didn't. Some of them answered like, oh, yeah, I do. I believe in it. And some of them are like, I know the real.
I've known a couple of them that say that Bigfoot, you know, these creatures have the ability to go from one veil from our world to another, whether it's my theories and thoughts on Bigfoot and other cryptids such as Dogman and Bigfoot fall into a biblical backstory. I'm currently working on a book that will detail a lot of that in the research. You'll be able to go back and look for the research that I've done for the book. You'll be able to go back and read that for yourself and see where I'm coming from. I'm not just blabbing about all these biblical things and not giving you anything. I'm going to give you verses. I'm going to give you books to reference to. So you can go read that for yourself if you don't believe the research that I've done. Now, everyone reads and thinks differently. You might read something that will mean something different to you. You take it a different way because it's the way our brains process learning, process things we read. So not everyone's going to
What's the
read
old
the same
saying?
thing.
Ask seven attorneys the same questions, you get 7 different answers.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's just the way
So,
everyone processes, everyday life. Whether you're learning something new, reading a book, we all process things different. So, that's a good analogy right there. That was a good one.
yeah.
Seven different lawyers, 7 different answers. And that's the way it is, and that's the way our world works. So that's a good one right there, Grizzly. I like
Yeah.
that. So, that's
But,
just
it's the truth. And when people tell me they're psychics and stuff, I don't think too much of it, and I don't really think, ooh, that's awesome, because I had a rough time throughout my life believing they existed. And since I've been on the hunt for them and actually spent time with some, the real ones, I've gained a lot of knowledge, a lot of trust. I know what to look for now. But just walking into somebody's home and say $50, I sit down and we'll talk. I don't know about that. I don't think I can do that.
yeah.
Well, I see online, and this is no disrespect to any medium, psychic, healer, raker, whatever you want to call yourself, that gets paid online to do these. I know you got to make money to live because you can't work outside the home. That's it. I understand. But you have your own customer base that knows you and trusts you. That's the key. That is the key.
Yeah.
And if I don't know you, I probably won't do business with you. And if I'm comfortable with you, I will speak with you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
To me, it does.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not trying to be negative about any psychic or medium, because I don't want to curse on me. So,
Well, it's like you said, we bring people on these shows. We're not bringing them on to make fun of them, to just get them on and blast them. We want to. It's kind of like a challenge, and I challenge anyone out there that has these abilities to prove to me that you actually have these abilities. And if you prove to me that you actually have these abilities, I will be gladly to help share your links, your social media, anything to help
and I
promote.
wouldn't mind paying for one here and there.
Yeah, exactly. If you have the ability and the gift to do what you claim you can do and prove it to me, I'm like you. I'd be glad to pay here and there especially if I need there's something that you really need some help on, whether it's I know someone who lost something in my family that had a good friend who was actually had the gift, and he said, well, let me come to your house. He come to the house, he sat down in her chair, and he said it's like looking through her eyes.
Oh, wow.
He said, I seen where she had put this idol mat and lost it there. It had fell down behind a dresser drawer, and she didn't have a vent top on the vent behind the dresser drawer, and it went down into the vent way. And then he got up, walked over to the dresser drawer, moved it out of the way, reached down into the vent, and pulled this item out for her. And
Now that's wild.
yeah,
Say,
she was like, how did you do that? He said, that's just something that I can do. I can sit down in a chair where someone is sat and see in my mind's eye where they went to if they've lost something or someone is coming to them to tell them something, but that he has to physically sit in a chair or touch an item that belongs to that person.
Jimmy, we got some questions on here I kind of have been ignoring. So Steve H says, good job, Grizzly. Ask, how do you atone for sin? Only shed the blood of Jesus? In my belief, yes, and I also do repent. I am a sinner. I am a sinner every day. I'm not pure. I do walk off the line of faith. I will never dissement that, or dissement that. That's not a word. I will never disagree with that.
The Bible says that only through Jesus Christ can we make it to the Father.
That is correct.
We have to ask for forgiveness for our sins and invite God into our heart. That's how you are saved. But you have to have that faith and know that He has come and changed you, not only physically but mentally. And you have to give things up. You have to give up the bad things that you were doing. That was the sin. You have to give those sins up.
And I'll tell you a story on that in a minute. Steve says, good job, Grizzly. And how do you atone for sin? Only to the blood. We already read that one. The Lord wants a relationship with you, not someone sitting on a pew. That's right, with no emotions and love for Him. That is actually true. I agree.
Yes.
I said that earlier. Profit for profit. Fine line. That's right. Grizzly had a dream that 23 would be full of fear, marked crashes, and possible suicide. I think a rapture happens in 2023. That'll make it 20 times worse. I saw in a newspaper in my dream. Yep, get rid of the fakers. And you know what? And that brings up something real good that that I noticed that a couple of psychics that I spoke to has brought up about 2023. It's going to be totally different that we have expected or not expected to see. What it is, I don't know. What they see, they won't tell. So it makes me wonder, you know. But they say that we can actually change the direction we're going in because it has not happened yet. So, you know, in 2023, since it's not here, we can still change it. Now, the one thing I was going to say on Jimmy, I done forgot because I was laughing because it brought it to my memory, and now, of course, my short attention.
I'm sorry,
gone,
Grizzly.
so.
I keep getting ticked off on my stepson is playing on his Xbox in there. And
oh, that's fine. That's all right. No big deal. As long as it's not Gremlins.
Oh yeah, I hope it's not Gremlins. That's the last thing I need. And you know how Gremlins are, you know, in Christmas time in that one movie, they totally destroyed that tech company.
Yes, they did. Yes,
I love those movies, man. I'm a big nerd. I actually have like Star Wars collectibles and things like that I have on shelves that everyone doesn't see when I do my lives and things like that. I'm gonna have to
imagine if we had the ones we had when we was growing up with.
Oh yeah, they're worth a lot of money now.
I had Jabba the Hutt. I had all kinds.
Luke and Leia. There was play sets and things like that. The Star Killer. The what was it? The Stormtroopers. You had remember the cycles that they rode on that they hovered with? I had some of those play sets and things like that. I had so much of that stuff that was totally destroyed when I was a kid that would be worth so much right now, man, as collectibles. I've got like bobbleheads over here on my shelf and little mini figures. I've got all kinds of stuff with Star Wars, you know. Like I said, I'm a big nerd, you know.
All right, nothing wrong with that. I mean, each is their own. Everybody collects something.
Oh yeah.
You know, they do. They really do.
All right, Grizzly. I appreciate you letting me come on and
Absolutely.
helping you out. It's about that time, getting dinner time, so I'm gonna get off here. But yeah, I would care to get on some of the shows and be a guest co-host.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have questions to ask some of these folks to
Yeah. Well, let me
find
ask you before you
out.
run. That I remember what they were. The last two readings you got, you had two. Were they right or wrong?
The first one, she was spot on when she was drawing up the house. You know, she said I lived in a trailer. She even pointed to where I was sitting. She was right on everything except for uh, a couple things, which I'm not going to hold against her because not all that comes through. They're picking things up. So, but as me believing, did she do enough for me to believe in her? Yes. She's a very gifted woman, very gifted lady, sweet. You know, I believe she's gifted. Um, she was very, very spot on with some of the things that she talked about. So,
What about
with
the second one?
with the heart condition, yes, I. But the thing about that is, it's in my videos and things like that before, which makes me second guess on that one. I have talked about recently about how sick I was. I've had AFib. I take heart medicine. I've been to the heart doctors. Um, they have
So that can
run,
be questionable then.
yeah, they have run me bragging through tests and things like that. Um, just trying to find out, but they said that I am good, that they didn't detect any blockages or anything like that. But where they were able to put me on medication for the AFib, it's a possibility
That's good.
that it came just all of a sudden on its own. It could possibly just quit all on its own and get better. So, time will tell. Prayer. Anyone that watches the video and you pray, please send a prayer up for me. My mother also, we found out she's got cancer.
Oh man.
Yeah, I've, my father's gone and he's been gone for a while. And all I have left is my mother, and she lives in Tennessee. And
Oh man,
we've
I'm
been
sorry
having
to hear that.
I've been having some car trouble and I'm not able to get to her, but just pray for, her. She's going through the chemo and radiation. She's lost all of her hair. So she's wearing wigs now. And so she's all right with that. She has a wig now to wear. And I just, um, they're thinking that with this radiation and chemo that they should get rid of it, but it's small cell. So she'll have to go back each month after that for so many months to have scans to make sure that it doesn't come up somewhere else, in her body. But she has a small spot on her lung, and they're hoping that the chemo and stuff will take care of it. They thought about doing surgery, but they were afraid to do it because where her lungs were bad, they said that she wouldn't come off the vent afterward of surgery. So I think it's best. God will work it out. I view death different from years ago the way I used to. Since I've basically, when you go into the field of the paranormal and you start being a investigator or a hunter, you learn to deal with death in a different way, and you see and you find out what's on the other side. It's better than this world ever thought about being. We live
Right.
we live in a world that is full of hate and things like that. And I just pray that when I do go, that I go to heaven and go to the right place. And that's all we can do is just try to live right, treat others, like Jesus Christ told us to love our brothers and our sisters. pray for those that need it. Pray
Yeah.
for, pray for healings for people.
Right.
And that's all we can do.
I mean, that's right. And I really feel sorry for you and your mother. I mean, that is a real, let me get this out of my face a little bit. That's a real difficult time.
Yeah, it's been.
That's what I had. I had small cell carcinoma on my right kidney, and they thought it spread to my other organs. And basically, I had my bags packed and ready to go, and I had all my affairs in order before the operation. They wanted to do a biopsy. I'm like, hell, why are you going to do a biopsy? If you're going to go in, go ahead and do what you got to do.
Yeah, for
so
real.
When they told me the chances of what they're going to find, and I got everything in line, and I came out lucky. And unfortunately, my type of cancer usually comes back into the lungs. So every 90 days, checks X-rays. Every 9 months, MRIs.
Yeah, and it's so crazy. I've had things going on with me, kidney wise, things like that. My dad had died from kidney failure.
Really?
Yeah, it just bothered my mom, and I've tried to tell her, Mom, don't worry about me, and she just cries. It's like I'm the one I'm the one that needs to worry about you now. It's your time to sit back and let me worry about you instead of you worrying about me. And she just it tore her up, and she cried because she's just afraid that I'm going to have to go through dialysis and all this stuff that Dad had to go through, and it's just driving her crazy.
Yeah. Well, I wish you the best. Keep us posted, please.
I sure will.
And do some talking offline too about some shows, because we're Grizzly's actually working on a lot of good things coming up this year. I'm in the process of moving, and unfortunately, I can't lift anything. So my daughter has to lift most of the small stuff, and they're hiring movers for the big stuff. But I keep telling my daughter, grab the small stuff, do the small stuff. She's like, Daddy, but we're going to have a truck with movers. I'm like, I'm telling you, you're going to have to pay by pound.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything. I'm Daddy. So, but take care, man. Enjoy your dinner. And I say, send prayers out to your mom.
All right. I appreciate it. I'll catch you on the next one.
Yes, sir. Take care.
Thanks, everybody. Right. Be sure to check us out next time.
Absolutely. Bye-bye. Well, what do you know it? We got Mr. Sport Cat with Grizzly on the air. What's going on?
Not much. What are you doing?
So, we had a show that was actually broadcast, and the poor young lady was not able to get her computer's mic and audio or camera turned on. So Mr. Jimmy Blanton filled in for a while. Now it's dinner time for him, and of course, I'm not going to miss a meal. Neither is he. So we were talking about psychics and mediums. That's one thing I've been on the hunt for, and I know that you got a question out for one that we're waiting on an answer for, which we won't talk about. It's very personal and deep. We don't want any information related, because if we do go to somebody else, we don't want the information tainted. So before we get started, I did call the police department, right? Like I was told to.
Okay.
And I called him from the library. He said my printer's out of ink to ship up back the laptop, and he didn't show up, or they didn't show up for an hour and a half. And I was like, I don't know why, but they just can't do it from the office. I don't need an officer. And she kept insisting sending an officer. I'm like, that's poor use of resource to me.
These cops, you just can't trust them.
So anyway, so I get home, and he calls. He's like, "Are you still at the library?" I'm like, "No, I'm at home." Okay, I'm on my way. He come up the steps. I was already outside waiting for him, having a driver's license, everything. He already had that paper filled out, and he's like, "Sir, do you think it's been stolen?" I'm like, "No." I said, "The stuff that I had delivered was much more expensive than what was not delivered or taken." I said, "Plus, I was out there minutes after the delivery." And he started laughing. I showed him my phone what I ordered. He goes, "Man, you order a lot of stuff off Amazon." I was like, "Shh." But anyways, so what's your take about psychics and mediums, really, Mr. Sport Cat?
Well, I believe that some have gifts and talents, and I believe some have a lot of imagination, but I'm not sure where the line is in the middle. There's been validation by quite a few on several things, so I'm not saying that it's not possible. I'm thinking that perhaps more people like to claim they are than actually are.
But how do you tell a real from a fake?
It's kind of like going to the store and buying generic cola when you're expecting Coca-Cola. You have to just try them and see. I mean, you can't just.
He got me snorting. He got me snorting.
Well, you had me on here for a reason.
That out of Sport Cat.
Well, you have to qualify everything. I mean, it's always best to be a skeptic. You can use that quote later. Feel free. Put it in your book.
That's got to go in the book.
Okay, I'll put it in the book. I'll sign it.
That's got to go in the book.
I want rights. But no, you have to qualify them, and you have to see. Most people want to go and they want to get answers on things of, will my boyfriend love me forever, or is my dog in heaven, or whatever. You start with realistic things that you can get plausible answers to with, verifiable evidence, and then move forward. It's kind of like science.
Yeah, but
generic cola, it tastes like crap. It's like Sundrop. Who came up with that?
Oh, I love Sundrop.
Oh my God,
there
is
Squirt.
He said Squirt.
Oh,
there's something.
Squirt. I love Squirt. Now, here's the thing that I learned from me being on the hunt for psychics and mediums. Some psychics and mediums does it for free.
Mm-hmm.
Some psychics and mediums do charge a small nominal fee because, unfortunately, they are not able to go outside the home and work because of the entities and spirits that keep coming up to them, trying to get their attention and talk to people, and it's constantly in their mind. And they try to shield themselves, and they can't, and they put themselves in a bubble at home. So I can see that aspect, and I noticed a lot of the ones that I interviewed actually worked on the psychic lines, which really surprised me because I thought the psychic lines were all fake.
It's kind of like the sex lines. No, they're not all fake.
No, I said psychic.
No, I said sex lines.
Oh my God! Let's bleep that out. So, with that being said, and I asked them why they quit the psychic lines, and they said, well, because they heard some stuff that people were going too far, overfetched, and making stuff up, and they didn't want no part of it. So I applaud them for that.
Sure.
But when somebody tells you that you got a curse on you and it's going to cost you $2,000 to get rid of it, sit down, and they pay it.
Yes.
And it's like, what the hell are you doing?
I had an argument today with somebody that said to me that diehard fans aren't paying $25,000 a ticket to see, what's that? I can't remember the country and western pop star that the big Ticketmaster scandal's about.
Oh, I haven't seen it. I've been busy all day.
Apparently, no, this has been going on for a week. Apparently, Ticketmaster crashed when whatever her name is. See, I'm such a big fan. And they were saying people they're paying $25,000 and they're not even fans. And I said, why in the Sam hell would you pay $25,000 for something you're not a fan of? That makes absolutely no sense.
Who the heck has that kind of money to spend on tickets? Let's be realistic.
For 3 hours,
That's
I'm
what we
going to
call
get
fake
more than a
news.
rock concert. I'm telling you that for 25 grand.
Well,
Just throwing
let's
that
go
out
back
there.
to paranormal. Let's go back to psychics and mediums.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
That's
I'm
bull.
comparing the same thing. Well, why would you pay for something so silly? I mean, but
Yeah, that's
people and their
that's
money do part easily.
unbelievable. But no,
some people part with their money easily.
but it's sad. It's sad that people get taken advantage of. You know, and I talked to a few that was, you know, that goes to the fairs and does the booths and gives free readings.
Mhm.
And there's actually sites out there on the web that you get free readings for free and some charge. And, you know, just beware. Something I'm saying. And the ones that do charge usually has their own clientele and they're well known.
Sure.
So don't judge. Don't be prejudiced against them. You know, maybe your first read will probably be free. I don't know. But speaking of that, Glenn, Mr. Sport Cat, I did put up the link. You remember that one group that I started? You're like, hell no, I'm not joining that group. I'm not getting.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of changed it.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I put the link up here somewhere.
You say fine line? Is he talking about mine? The difference between generic and
But it's Facebook. It's called Psychics and Mediums Across the World. And I opened it up.
Would it be around, or are you a flat earther? Just questioning you.
Now, across.
Why would it be across when the world is round?
I mean, doesn't across sound better?
I don't know. I'm not an English major.
Neither am I. Well, now you might want to change it. Once I can't change it.
Oh, great. I've ruined the show. I've ruined everything. That's it. 2 minutes in and I've already done it.
Oh, no. Account settings.
Well, we'll just assume you're a flat earther. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
And I don't think you can change it. I'm have to look at my phone. I'm better on my phone than I am on a laptop.
Of course.
And you know what? Speaking about laptops, before we go back to the concept, what we have to is that you know how they wanted me to wait to send that laptop back until Wednesday.
Yeah.
I went online and I was hit a couple buttons and I got a shipping label, and it cost me $25 for a box.
Why'd you buy a box?
I had to ship the laptop back.
What happened to the box it came in?
I threw it out.
So you threw out $25.
Oh yeah.
See, here I am on the show just ruining everything.
But no, really, you know, and that's the only thing I tell people, you know, beware of people. I've been told also if you can record the session.
Sure.
And some may say you're not able to record because electronics can interfere with their energy. So
there is that.
Okay, that's fine. But a pen and piece of paper, if they say no to that, then get up and walk away. So that is the truth on that. But, you know, it's strange, though. Yeah, I mean, it's strange that, you know, because all my life, you know, I really didn't believe in stuff like that. Now, in the past 3 to 5 years, I have, because my mom and I really getting into it. And that's one reason why I got into going on the hunt for psychics and mediums, because I wanted to learn more.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to learn more about people's abilities, what they could do. You said around the world, right?
Yes.
Okay, it's been changed.
Oh.
I
I
can
got
do
my
it
little
faster on my
cat
phone.
touches on it.
But I wanted to learn more about their abilities and when they got them, how they got them. Was it passed down? And one of the things I did learn is some of it was skipped a generation. Some of it the parents passed them down. Some of the mom and dad both have some, and they got all. Some of it was from near-death experience, which was very not questionable, very interesting.
I have an officer
and
that worked with me at the fire department that after a traumatic car wreck involving a head injury, he can see dead people.
really,
Yep.
wow. See, that's I don't know if I can handle that because most of the ones I talk to is that they can't leave the home because of what they see, and that's why they do charge money for their readings. But once again, it's because they have people they know in their own client base, and they also have what's that coming up at the bottom of my screen? Steve H.
Yeah, he was the one in Mendigo said
Let
profit.
me see, Steve. Let me bring you back up. Did I stick on something on you? I sure did. There we go. But they already have their customer base, so that's why they're paying them because they already know that they are real and they trust them. And like I tell people before, is like just be careful what you do and look out for the warning signs that you've actually heard over the videos that we have actually. I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'll put my phone down, but actually interviewed because they gave us pointers. They gave us things to look for.
Mm-hmm.
And we got one over New Albany. I shouldn't have said where it was at. But it's got it up in the window, palm reading and neon lights. And I never forget it. I wanted to try it so bad, but I ain't throwing money away. Come on. I can just imagine walking through there, dust, 2 inches thick on everything. But it really makes you wonder where the gifts and ability comes from.
Well, you can train yourself to become a Jedi. And if you were open to it, you could be trained to be a remote viewer. I could train you.
I tell you, one of the interviewees actually caught her boyfriend cheating on him or on her because she did that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was wild, ladies and gentlemen. She
Remote
actually
viewing
did.
is a
She
powerful
told
thing.
one house, what color car he got out of, what color outfit she was wearing, and some other details I can't go into over there. There.
Remote viewing is a powerful thing. I believe more remote viewing than I'm probably doing psychics. And there's a very fine little window there. But the thing about remote viewing is there's, what's the correct word I want to use? Protocol. You're not doing it on a whim. You're doing it methodically. You're not just going, oh. So, not saying that people can't do it. Do what?
Make that sound again.
So, yeah, there's protocols you can use, and that's if somebody was to enlist the aid of a psychic, that would be protocol, or they should develop their protocol and procedure so that they can verify before they go in for the information they desire. Not don't tell me my birthday or my Gemini, Libra, what color was my mom's eyes. No, go to something specific and solid, then go from there. May cost you, but if you're going down that road, then that's probably the correct path to take.
But I was told don't let them ask you any questions.
Well, there is a lot of truth to that, but then again, they have to qualify you a bit as well. So,
Oh, look who we have on. And I
have
can't
on?
bring her on because we only got 15 minutes left. She finally got her computer hooked up. Let's bring her on for a minute. Hello there. How you doing?
I'm good. It took me a while. My goodness.
That's okay. We'll still reschedule for tomorrow because I got another live show coming up in a few minutes.
Okay.
This is Sport Cat, Glenn.
Hi.
We're doing a show together. We're actually
Miss-
talking about mediums and psychics, and since you're on, why don't you give us little tips about how to tell from the real ones from the fake ones?
Well, real psychics will try to connect with your loved one, and you're going to have to test to see if what they're saying is resonating with you. If you're picking up, like today, I did a reading and I picked up on the initial of his name. You know, it was the first thing. It came up first. The name came up, Jerry, and then a J came up, and his name was Jim. And his daughter's name I picked up was an A name. It ended up being Alice. And so she knew I was actually picking up on him, that I was getting with her loved one, because I was coming up with these things that how else would you know them?
Right.
And I think the ones that aren't as real are probably just saying general information, just general things that your loved one loves you and they're in heaven and that kind of stuff, and not coming up with, like, I came up there going on vacation. You know, they had a cruise planned, and my first thought was the Caribbean, and then I thought of someplace exotic like Greece, and she's like, no, it's the Caribbean, you know, and that was my first thought. So it was things like that they lets them know that I'm really connecting with their loved one, because there's no other way to know these things. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that does, because I interviewed quite a few, and I did a lot of background research on you, because we do that to make sure we don't have any hocus pocus on the phones or on air. Yeah. But how are you out in public? Do you get bothered a lot with spirits?
No, I know how to block them somewhat to here I'm trying to focus in, and to not let them overwhelm me, because it is hard when you're in a large crowd, because there's a lot of energy, and I'm an empath and an intuitive, so I feel other people's energy and their feelings of what they're going through. So a lot of times out in public, and I am not I'm very vicarious. I you know, I'm out there with people. I love people. I can talk to the wall. You know, I can communicate with anybody. So I just kind of try to block what I'm feeling so I don't get overwhelmed. It's more when I'm home and I'm alone with my animals and I have my candles lit and my incense going and my sage going, and that I can really sit down and communicate one-on-one with somebody who's lost their loved one. Or I also do, psychic readings. I do not predict the future. I feel that's between someone and their God, and the future changes. So I don't predict the future, but I have been known to predict the sex of a baby on occasion.
Oh, wow.
So,
oh, wow. That's pretty interesting.
It's fun. But yeah. I do work in demonology also.
Ooh.
I also connect with demons, unfortunately. I can see them and they can see me. And I've done a lot of work with people, especially in Ireland. There seems to be a lot of activity in Ireland. And I have connected with some demonic energies and helped to clear the houses of them. I try to do that on a remote basis, but I also give them instructions of what I think they should do to follow.
Right.
and rid themselves of any demons in their house. So I do help people with that also. And
That's very interesting.
I also work on cold cases. I'm
That's
really
interesting.
interested in the Idaho. The Idaho murders have me just reeling, thinking about those 4 poor children just being slaughtered in their beds is just overwhelming.
Yeah.
From what I was first feeling about it, seems to be coming true, because I really felt that Kaylee was the target and she was murdered first, and then Madison, and then Ethan, and then Zaina. I feel that they were murdered in that order, and it seems to be that. That's the one thing doing cold cases, it's hard to get validation. I have been validated on some. I actually came up with the address of one woman who was murdered, and the only thing I have a hard time coming up with is location of the body, because at that point they've already passed, so they're not always coming through with where, I mean, I can see like general areas, but to come up with specifics has been very hard to do. But when I came up with this woman's address, that was quite the thing.
Right.
To come up with that, and I have a very strong feeling on how she was murdered.
Wow.
Very strong feeling on it. So I've been working with this family on that case, but again, coming up where the body is disposed, that's hard. That's a
Right.
really, really hard thing to come up with. You've got landfills, and you've got woods and streams and rivers, and there's so many places that they could be disposed of, and it's just so heart-wrenching, because that's all the family wants, is to have their loved one back to bury them.
Right.
So meaningful for them, and it breaks my heart that I can't always come up with a direct location, but I can give them some ideas of areas to look, also to use cadaver dogs, things of that nature. So those things are a little bit difficult, but
How's
I'm not.
your schedule for tomorrow? Because I'm wide open.
Oh, okay. I'm okay for tomorrow.
Any particular time?
Usually evening is better for me, like 5:00.
Are you on Eastern time?
Yes, I am.
So 5:00 it will be.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the night.
Just wanted to start a business.
So
When something surprising happens.
I don't know what happened here.
Teach you how to crochet.
But yes, and I'm glad you got everything fixed. I'm very happy about that, because I've been dying to get you on the show.
I was really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad it worked out. And, tomorrow at 5:00, ladies and gentlemen, please tune in for that show. She's got a lot of interesting things to say, it seems like. So I'm very excited about that. Grizzly's been on the hunt for psychics and mediums for, what do you say, Glenn, 2 or 3 weeks now?
At least,
Roughly.
yes. Yeah.
So I've been really working hard to understand what people do, how they do it, and especially their abilities, because it's neat to understand what they are capable of doing and how they do things, and ones that actually work with law enforcement and so forth. So
I feel it's a God-given gift. I feel that God gave me this gift to give comfort to people in their times of need. So that's important to me, is that I'm helping others.
that's right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the night again. Getting ready to go live in approximately 6 minutes. This is Grizzly from coast to coast, all around the world. Until then, we'll see. Good night, everybody. Thank you again for showing up, and I'll see you tomorrow at 5, ma'am.
Okay, sounds
Sport
good.
Cat, have a good night,
See ya.
sir. Thank you all.
Good night.